10:49, and I call this meeting of the General Government and Public Safety Committee to order. I know attendance has already been taken. Now, comments from citizens. Since there are so many people here, I really do ask that you limit them to no more than 5 minutes each, just so we can get through everybody and everybody will be heard. So if you have a comment, please go to the microphone up there, give us your first name and last name and your address.
Mr. Wilkins, is there any way we can move this to the other room so that people out there are able to hear this?
There's like 40 people out
There's
there.
a lot, and they cannot hear in here at all.
I don't know how we're going to be able to accomplish that because we do record the meeting that is up here for public record and for public purposes. Plus, we do have all of our media folks who are set up in here. Do we have any microphones? Like, if they were to speak closer to the microphone, are they able to hear?
I don't think there's any speaker up there. It is being recorded, so they will be able to play it.
Is there a way, if they have a comment, they can come in here?
Absolutely.
Someone maybe needs to let us know that.
Yeah, well,
It's the way to be able to get in and out. Okay, well,
do you want to move the microphone up, Jessica? Maybe a little bit, thank you.
Here we go. Jessica Orsini, 201 South Nicholas Street. I know, well, everyone's here tonight. We have an interesting situation with our police department. The city's taken a good first step in that we have put in place external third-party review to see if anything has been done as shouldn't have been done. But I would like to say that 14 years ago, we had a similar situation. We had a police chief that left. We had a demoralized police department. The situation wasn't good. And at that time, we hired Larry Dudgeon to be chief of police. And in short order, and with the support of this board, Larry had the police department turned around and working like a machine. Did a really good job. Now, I know that former Chief Dudgeon has reached out to the mayor and at least a few of the members of the board to offer his services on a temporary basis to consult on how best to rebuild the department, which has been, well, decimated. And I would really like to hear if the board would be interested in taking him up on that. Thank you.
I just recently, I can answer that, I just had a correspondence from him Saturday morning, I believe. And in that statement, he said that he wasn't at all interested in helping with the city now, and that he was for us to work it out ourselves.
I received the same type of email from Larry. He actually didn't give me time to respond to the first email, so he already had the other one. It's in there. I'm sorry, who's next?
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Robert Weiss. I'm the former chief of police. I live
Is
in
she
119
still
South
work?
Walnut.
Talk to the microphone.
I started my employment with the city in 2005 as a part-time patrol officer. In 2008, I came on full-time as patrol sergeant and worked my way to assistant chief. December of 16, I left that position to take a job as chief of police in Hallsville. Wanted to be a chief of police. Well, in August of 2018, I interviewed for the open position of chief of police back here in Centralia. And I will tell you, I was elated to have it. This is home. I was given the opportunity to serve the citizens of Centralia to the best of my ability until today. On September 23rd, I was asked for my resignation. The reason giving that the leadership within the department was not going the way the administration thought it should be. Pretty broad statement if you ask me. This was not an early retirement for me. That has been the storyline. Those words never did come out of my mouth.
Thank you.
I will guarantee you that.
Thank you.
I did not want to resign, but with the issues over the last several weeks, I decided it may be best for my family and myself. I've grown to love serving the citizens of Centralia and call this town home. I personally want to thank each and every one of you citizens for giving me that opportunity. To the City Council, as you look at the past events, I'll be happy to assist you in any way I can with your investigation. Don't have a problem with that. To the remaining officers of Centralia Police Department, I say to you, stay safe. Always do your best to serve the citizens with the professionalism and integrity I know exists in each of you. It has been my pleasure to serve with each of you. I walk away from this experience with my head held high, my integrity intact. And I will leave you with this. I know not what tomorrow holds, but I know for sure who holds tomorrow. It is not any of the people in this room.
Amen.
Thank you.
Next comments?
Tim Cruz. Been employed, have been employed at the city of Centralia for almost 12
Can
years.
you talk louder?
Yeah, talk about it.
Yeah, can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? I've been employed, or have been employed with the city of Centralia for almost 12 years. Over the last few months, it's been pretty rough. I've been through some hard times in the city. But there were some concerns that were not addressed. And some actions that were taken that I can't, in good conscience, participate with. I am not asking for my job back. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm not asking for Bob Bice's job back. What I would like is for some accountability and some transparency in addressing some of these issues. So, any law firm that has been hired, I would be happy to speak with and help them in their investigation. Thank you.
Probably don't need the microphone because I have a big mouth. I'm Logan Fager. I've been employed here for nearly 5 years this December. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody in here, council, and the people out in the community room for their support. It is very troublesome to be up here because I never thought I would be in this position. As a police officer and as the officer that is in charge of the community outreach. The support that we have in this community is overwhelming, and we really appreciate it. And it has been very difficult to be employed here within the last, I'd say, couple months because of the lack of accountability from the city administration. We had a former officer that was fired for violating a policy that he did not violate and that did not exist. And that's very upsetting. So if we have an officer that is violating a policy that doesn't exist, then where does this leave the city administration? From a standpoint of when a city administrator has basically told the chief that don't stick your neck out on the line. A lot of these concerns that are being said that is not acceptable. And if an officer can get fired for that, then where does that leave the city administrator or the attorney or anybody else that was responsible for that termination? To make a veiled threat to a chief when he didn't agree with the firing of his officer. I was wrote up, or attempted to get wrote up for back in August. And I will read you part of this. Basically, that I was observed by the city administrator's husband for turning my head and basically avoiding the city administrator. And she had said that I felt that my actions were inappropriate or discourteous, and that we should be able to work together in a professional manner. And then was later asked why a patrol car was sitting at the end of Wilson Street, and has questioned the integrity of several of these officers. And it is upsetting because we give everything and are willing to take a bullet for anybody in this town and our integrity is in question. And that is upsetting, and I'm up here shaking because I'm so irritated that this can continue to go on. I have a 5-year-old boy at home, and at the start of every shift, I don't know if I'm gonna get to go home and see my child ever again. And I would do it over and over and over each day. And after 5 years of being here, it is upsetting that I'm leaving this town. But something has to change. This isn't acceptable. Especially the other night when the city administrator said in a meeting next door, I'm afraid to get stopped in this town because I'm afraid to get thrown out of my car and thrown onto the ground. And that's coming from multiple people. You're challenging the integrity of every single officer that you employ and that's willing to take a bullet for you, or your family, or anybody else. We don't do this job for the money. We do it because we love it and we want to serve the public. So accountability, as former Lieutenant Cripps said, we can fire an officer for not violating a policy and simply doing his job. Then where does that leave the ones responsible for this? Because this could have all been prevented. Thank you.
My name is Jan Hughes, and I live on Mullins, and I teach in Hallsville. But when we moved up here, I always told people, Centralia is a great community, it's very warming, but like some of them have said, lately it doesn't, after all this has come to head, it doesn't feel like that. But I want to back up for a second and go off of what the officer just said. When, people are calling others out or placing blame or something, and the accountability, if you guys are just saying random things and not owning up to it, that's shame on you. Because if you're not holding accountability for what you're calling out, then you're wrong. And I appreciate Officer Bias and all the other officers, because when I have a need, they are there. It's just, how do I want to word this? I'm going to back up. I feel like listening to what has been said is the officers are being micromanaged. They can only do so much, and before they can do anything, they have to run it by you. Officers can't do that. They have to make split decisions, and if they have to come ask you guys for permission, people will be dead. Somebody up because their husband said something, that's stupid. That's plain out stupid. And I completely think that Officer Bias and all those officers that were let go for the absolutely, I don't see why. And we paid their salary, and we should know why you guys felt the need to fire them.
Amen.
Because there's no. That's my point. And I don't even, that's all I'm gonna say.
My name is Sydney Mayfield. I'm the city attorney for the city of Centralia, and I would like to correct a statement that has been made and maybe a misunderstanding within the city about the termination of officer. And correct a misunderstanding that has been made potentially about the termination of Officer McGee. Officer McGee was terminated because he not only violated a policy of the city of Centralia, which can be more strict than state law, but he did an investigatory interview with a child under the age of 10 years old without providing Miranda rights to this child, without seeking parental permission to question this child, and after the city was contacted by the Boone County Juvenile Department regarding this. In addition, there was a progressive line of discipline that was instated against McGee. And the city has a form up here, if Officer McGee is present in the room. That if he would like to sign, we can release his personnel file, so that if it were be requested via the Sunshine Law, we would be able to provide all of this documentary evidence to the public for your review.
There you go.
Where we at?
Transparency's no problem with that.
Sign it.
Yeah,
Everybody wants to know, sign it.
yeah.
Yes.
Mike Bardwell,
You don't want anybody to know.
706 East Head Street. Been a citizen here for 6 years now, and I don't know about, I can't speak for all of you, but I have a stepdaughter with a lady that I live with, and she's got special needs. And in this day and age, when you've got all these bad stories you see on the TV, one most recently about the paraplegic being pulled out of his car, whatnot, and treated unfairly. I was taught by example from this fine police department how, under a position of authority, to de-escalate a combative young lady who always had the mentality of a 10-year-old. Now she's 21 years old, and because of their leadership and what I've learned from them, you know where she's at? She's not at home no more. She's got her own home. She's in an ISL. She's someplace that we didn't think it would be possible in any time frame, let alone in the 6 years that I've been here. That's a testament to what this police department and what you guys have forced out of here. Why? Now, you guys talk about, oh, transparency so much issue, whatever. You guys fall under the same thing always. It's a personnel issue, it's a personnel issue, all right? We are bound by the fact that we are a fourth-class city. We've got a population of 10,000 people, and we are held accountable to what you guys set in motion. So we get what we get while we voted in. What we voted in is not what we were expecting. And what we got is not exactly what, this is not what we voted in.
Any other comments?
That's good.
Good evening, my name is Pat McGee. I was a police officer for about 2 years. I love this town. It was a second chance for me to get back in law enforcement for $15 an hour. I gave up a factory job making $20 an hour so I could protect the public and do what I loved. Yes, I apparently violated a policy. If you take into the totality of the circumstances of the entire call, I was doing a social services call. How am I going to charge an 8-year-old child with a bad touch crime when there's nothing on any state statute for about that age? We're investigating all the information to give it up the chain to the Children's Division, Juvenile Office. That's what I did. And actually, I did not question a juvenile without her parents or guardians. The grandmother was right there telling me to talk to the granddaughter. So, again, the violation of policy did not flow with the incident that actually occurred. So again, if you read a piece of paper, he reads a piece of paper, he reads a piece of paper, all three of you could have come to a different conclusion of what that meaning of the entire paragraph says. So, you given it to several different attorneys, outside sources, which is on recording if you'd like to hear her words say that, Miss Mayfield. So,
Well, if you've got something, I would think that, you know, the city would like to see that, and we will be having an internal investigation, so I would expect
Absolutely.
that you would turn that over.
100%.
Should have already seen it before you fired him.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Show us it now.
Aiden?
If you'd like to sign this, release of your personnel file, we'll be glad to be transparent. Up
Yeah.
to you. There it is.
I can't approach it.
Exactly. Why can't you-
Everything's on file. Everything on your file will be released. Everything.
Okay.
Okay. If you're comfortable with that.
Okay.
Again, I thank the citizens of Centralia. Don't you want to discuss it now if he signs it?
Well, he's not signing it, so. I guess it doesn't matter, he's not gonna let anybody know.
The signature, you want the signature to discuss it now, right?
You can bring it in whenever, I mean, once we have it, it can be released. I haven't seen it, I don't know if I will.
Hi everybody, my name's Callie Woolfolk and I live on 809 South Central. What I have is more to say, or less to say to the city administration and the aldermen, so I hope you guys will forgive me, and it's more to say to Chief Bias and his officers. On behalf of, the citizens, I think we owe you a huge debt of gratitude and a huge apology. I think you and your officers have deserved better. Deserve better. And on behalf of my kids, I have two, an 8-year-old boy and a 5-year-old girl. His favorite officers were Officer Davenport and Officer Fager. Every time he'd see Officer Davenport and Officer Fager, he'd run up to them. He loves them. And he knows them, and Officer Davenport knows my son by name. They're always in the schools. And, this is the only place, I'm not originally from here. My husband is. I'm a transplant, and we moved back here about 3.5 years ago. And this is the only place I have ever lived where, if you see an officer out on his rounds during the weekend, speaking of officers on community outreach, where on his rounds on the weekend that sees kids outside playing with their parents or something like that on the weekend, this is the only place I have ever lived where an officer will sometimes stop and say hi to the kids and their parents, and sometimes, honk their sirens and give the kids stickers and stuff like that. This is the only place I have ever lived that has ever happened. And I would hate to see all of that go away just because of this. I mean, we don't know. The city, the public doesn't know what happened here, and we are owed an explanation. But these officers deserve so much better than what they are getting from all of you. You guys owe them so much more than what you're giving them right now. And we are losing some really great men, some men that have served this community for a really long time over some stupid stuff. And my son is losing one of his best friends for nothing. And a role model, a great role model for nothing. So, and again, Chief Bias, I'm sorry.
Next comment?
Hi, my name is Derek Roberts. Currently, right now, with what's going on with the police department, I've been with the police department since early this year in the cadet program, and I've seen a lot of these officers come through and they'll just be so angry, or they'll have such a hard day. And for me to sit here and imagine I'm about to go through the academy and be in their spot, it's worrying, but it's comforting. As of right now, a couple days ago, I realized that this city is starting to fall apart. It's gotten me to the point where I, at the beginning of this year, wanted to be with the city after the academy. I wanted to apply, I wanted to be with you all. As of right now,
I've changed my intention. I don't want to be a part of something that's going to get rid of officers that deserve to be here. I had no intention to become an officer until Logan and McGee and all these different officers came in my life. I was going to go off to the military, even though they won't, but that was my intention. This town, this police department renewed my faith in police. As of previous 2 police officers that have been relieved and fired, one pulled a gun, or almost pulled a gun on me and 2 other friends near Hubble. That did not help my faith in police. Another officer that was charged and arrested pulled me and another friend out of the truck violently and forced us and almost arrested us. Not only a couple weeks ago, my very first time, McGee was on duty. I was at the park with one of my friends having a drink. He, sure enough, cop car pulls up. Me and my friend looked at each other. We expected that, okay, we're going to be in trouble. We're going to jail probably for some stupid reason. Of course not. There it is, McGee. Hey, I know you. It's the first thing he said to me. First thing he said to me, besides an officer saying, "What are you doing here? What's your purpose?" Well, we heard some suspicious activity. McGee talks to people. Logan talks to people. All these officers that are being let go and treated disrespectfully are being let go and fired for no reason whatsoever. You can have your reasons, you can have your doubt, you can have whatever you want. I don't care. But for the reason of you guys firing them, it's unacceptable. You think any other city does this? Sits here and gets rid of officers that want to protect you while you sit in your chair and have this meeting? The 3 out there that are protecting you, it's ridiculous. They're here to serve and protect you. And you want to sit here and fire them and get rid of them, the ones that want to protect you? You think the 2 officers that wanted to put harm on me would want to protect you? Somebody that was in high school trying to get through it, that was already struggling, getting thrown out of cars and stuff. They're not going to protect you. The people that you fired were going to protect you. And once they're gone, you can have your doubts, you can have your reasons, whatever you want. Who's going to protect you now once they're gone? What are you going to do once you fire every single police officer that wants to protect you and your kids, that actually cares about the school? Davenport, I was in high school when he was a police officer. He cared about me. I'd get in trouble. The school wouldn't want anything to do with me. Davenport would come in and talk me down and reason with me. Logan's the reason I'm in this cadet program right now. He's the reason I got promoted in the cadet program. He's the reason I want to stay a cop. Same with Davenport, McGee, Cribbs, all of them. Until there is change, which I don't want, whatever change you need to do, I thought we were adults. That's coming from a 21-year-old. I might as well run for mayor. I might as well run for city administrator because other people can't get it done. Fix it. Deal with your issue. I know, sure, if this doesn't get fixed, I'm gone. I'll go work for Boone County. I don't care. I'll go somewhere else. And you couldn't even care probably because you're sitting in that chair. I hope you guys fix your issue. I love this town. I've been living here all my life. I hope you fix it. Now I want to protect it. But I can't be here. If on my job, my career, as soon as I get out of the academy, is in jeopardy. I'm not working that hard at all. I'll work for people that want me there. I hope you guys fix yourselves. If you don't, I think you need to hear from some people.
Thank you.
Just use another comment.
Well said.
Anybody else coming out there?
Anybody out there want to speak?
Good evening. My name is Tim Granke. I live at 230 South Hickman. And I want to say that I know you all are in a tough spot. We've been there before. You know, back after Larry Dudgeon resigned, we went through the hiring process for the police chief. We had some great candidates. And it came down to, there was a tie between somebody that we didn't know and somebody that we knew in Bob Bias. Bob Bias knew the community. He knew what was expected of him as a police chief. He had experience as a police chief, and he knew how to run a department. And when the council voted, there was a tie. So I, as the mayor, had to break that tie. And I weighed the options. Do I want somebody that I don't know, or somebody that knows the community, that the citizens know and respect? And that's why I voted for Bob Bias to be the chief. And to have the council not take his advice and not counsel him as they're trying to let one of his officers go. And I just kind of ashamed at that. Now, like I said, we're all in a hard spot. But you need to do the right thing. Whatever that is, you need to do the right thing. We all make choices in our life. And we have to live with the consequences of those choices. Now, when I was running for mayor last time, I was accused of lying. And I didn't say anything about it. Because people think what they want to think. Okay? And I was accused of lying by somebody that I thought was respectable. And to have him go out and call me a liar on Facebook behind my back, that's kind of disheartening. I gave 12 years of my life to this community as the mayor. Yeah, I did some things wrong. I'll admit that. I made some mistakes, but I owned up to them. And I was able to move on from there. So, like I said, I appreciate what you're doing. Just think long and hard of what actions that you're going to take and do the right thing.
Do you have another? I can't tell. Is there anybody else out there?
Does anybody else out there want to say something?
She's coming.
My name's Liquid Leaving. I've known Bias for quite a long time as a person on the fire department in Hallsville, as a church member, and as police officer and chief here. I've never had a problem with him. He knew my ex-husband, now is deceased, dealt with his issues. He never had a problem with working with him and dealing with his issues, even when they were thought to be a ruse to get attention. You know, he's done a lot for this town. These officers that we have that have resigned or that have turned in their resignations have done a lot. I have a disabled child. They have had to come to my house multiple times and talk to her to calm her down because she was combative. If it wasn't for them, I would not be able to contain her at home. I give my respect to these officers. They're here for us. We need to know what's going on. Thank you.
Is that the last question?
Okay.
Going once, twice? All right. I close the comments from citizens section of the meeting. Moving on to public safety, police department, I refer to the report in your packet. Jerry,
I'd rather
what do you think you want to point out?
Everything's going as normal, really. I mean, crime's down in some of our.
Could you use the mic, please?
Crime's down. Very comfortable. Especially tonight.
Nothing really has changed this last month. The crime's down in a few different spots as far as assaults.
Can you pause for a second? We are recording this meeting and he is speaking, and when people are talking, I'm sorry, we can't hear. So if we could please keep our conversation.
We couldn't hear anything either. Take care about us. We've all been downstairs.
Sorry.
Grow up.
Yeah, everything's crime's down this last month. If you guys have any questions as far as what you've seen?
Thank you.
I'd like to tell you, thank you for stepping up and helping us at times. I'm trying to make sure that we keep the law officers that are working for us. I want to thank you, Officer Stolby, for stepping up to help us in this interim time, to keep the streets safe, the officers covered. And I want to thank Boone County for stepping up and helping us through this time. And we will get through this time. And the goal is for us to come out on the other side of this better than we've ever been. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for the police department? Moving on, fire department.
Y'all listening? Make sure that lady over on the other side of the ring.
Yeah, the fire department is, training and stuff, hose checking, getting trucks fixed and repaired. I had one repaired this week at a shop in town. The mattress halls, I thought were down until last night about midnight. We had 3 from there to 7. Everything's back to normal in Centralia, in my book. I've got electric paper for the SCBA's on your desk, mine from on your desk. You're supposed to be here the 21st.
Thank you.
Heather, anything for emergency management? Economic development? Doesn't have a report in it.
There may not have been any meeting minutes available.
Yeah, it's negative. Okay. Park board I do have. Things to point out. Library board. Any questions on that? Cemetery Advisory Committee, is there any report? And then now it's down to financial balance sheet. Anything you want to point out, Heather? Balance sheet.
Nothing in.
Okay. Line item. Bills over $1,250. Any questions on? All right, other general government. evening. Any as may arise.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those